Hi everybody, and welcome to a spoiler look at Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now I want to start this review talking about the very opening of the movie, the opening credits. Now a lot of people have been complaining about we don't need to see the origin of Batman again. And we don't. We all know the origin story of Batman. I even said this in a spoiler-free review. However, this was used quite nicely and very simply to establish that this is a new Batman. This is a reboot of the Batman story. This is completely different Batman, and not everybody will know that. Some people might think, is this a continuation of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy? You know, is this still Christian Bale? Not everybody who is in the realm of which we have our discussions is aware that this is a reboot, that this is a new story. And a story that starts much later in Batman's career. This wasn't the origin of Batman. Although we saw the origin of Bruce Wayne, this wasn't the origin of Batman. We start this movie with the tragic deaths of his parents, but when we actually hit Batman as himself, I mean, he's, you know, in his mid to late 40s. He's been Batman for quite a while. He's very aggressive and brazen, and this Batman, unlike any other Batman we've seen before, this guy intentionally kills people. He shoots them. He has a gun on not just the Batmobile, but he walks around with one. He kills people. I mean, even in that sequence where he's chasing the Kryptonite truck, and and he launches another thing. He must have killed like 3 people in that truck. You know, he intentionally goes and causes pain to a lot of people. And you know what? I think that was good. I liked the fact that this was a Batman that took no shit from anybody. He went out there to do his job, and that was it. And it was very aggressive, and I think it was a good take. I'm very looking forward to a Batman movie now, based on the fact that this Batman is quite brutal. I mean, even in that sequence that they used in the trailer, when he goes after Martha Kent, that was incredible. You felt the pain, and he hit that guy in the face, and he went headfirst into the floor. That was awesome. And I look forward to seeing a lot more of... I mean, I wanted more of that in this movie. But I hope that we can get a hell of a lot more of that in the solo Batman movie when it comes up. Now, talking about the difference between Batman and Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne introduction of this, of course, starts in Metropolis, as he's making his way to, the devastation that Superman and Zod have left behind. Now, I think there was quite a clear distinction between Bruce Wayne and Batman. Bruce Wayne Bruce Wayne's a hell of a lot more of a coy. He's trying to keep his identity secret still, obviously, whereas Batman was kind of just go out there and beat the crap out of everybody. Now, when he first comes into Metropolis and he sees the devastation in that city, and the way he runs into that cloud to try and help people, that was an amazingly beautiful sequence. And in fact, you can see the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. They're both very light and dark between them. Bruce Wayne is definitely out there to help people. Maybe not always the right way, but he's out there to help people, whereas Batman's just kind of there to kick ass. And I think the Bruce Wayne Batman, the moral compass that he has is very black and white. There is no grey at all. I mean, he saves that little girl, but he kills the bad guys. I mean, there's no redemption for the bad guys. That's it. They're bad. They're done. And I'm pretty sure that that whole brand sequence about the fact that prisoners who get the brand end up dead in prison. I mean, so he's not always intentionally killing them himself. He'll just let other people do it. Either way, you cross the Batman, you're going to die. Which I thought was a fantastic new take. We needed something a bit more brutal, and it certainly fit in this universe that they're trying to create. Now, I want to talk about the nightmare scene, also known as the Mad Max sequence, which was visually gorgeous. That thing was incredible to watch. But I also understand that it has a lot of people confused. Was it a dream sequence? Was it something real? Because, it looks like he was after the Kryptonite at one point. Or was it looking into the future? And now I believe we've had it confirmed that these dream sequences were caused by the Flash. The Flash was the one inducing them into Bruce Wayne. Now, there are a lot of questions that come from that nightmare scene, especially involving Superman. Now, when Superman comes down into that bunker and kills those 2 guys, comes up to Batman Bruce Wayne, and he says, "She was my world, and you took her from me." Now, as we know later on in the movie, when he's talking about his world, we know that's Lois Lane. So is this foretelling the death of Lois Lane? And is Batman going to be responsible? Have they given away a plot point that's going to play later on into the Justice League movies? And with Superman killing people, are we then looking at this is what happens to Superman when he comes back? Because we know Superman is dead now. So are we going to get an evil Superman, which we know has happened in the comics? Are we going to get a World 2? Are we going to get a very similar story to Injustice Gods Among Us? We're going to end up with a bad Superman that everyone's now got to fight against. Is he going to be the big bad at some point? I mean, even when Flash comes through in that really bizarre sequence in the Batcave, trying to break through time, whatever, he says Lois is the key, and keeps repeating, "You were right about him. You were always right about him." So, are we meant to assume that Superman is going to be a villain at some point? I mean, maybe a lot of people kind of just ignored those comments, but it's only just me that's sitting there kind of going, hang on a sec. There's something significant here. Why is the Flash coming through, projecting these visions onto Bruce Wayne, and talking about Lois and showing Superman killing people? I mean, it's either got to be a World 2, which is a multiverse thing that happens in the comic books, or Superman's going to come back and be quite bad. But either way, I think we're going to have to assume that Lois is going to die at some point. Now, whether that's... if it's Batman's fault, he might not kill Lois. I don't think that's going to happen. But if they take the route that the Injustice went, Batman could be held responsible, and maybe the Joker does it. Maybe this is where it all comes together. Either way, I think it's going to be interesting. However, I mean, the death of Superman, while it was a nice idea and taken straight from the comics, I think this shows that sometimes comic to movie adaptations, a literal translation, they don't work. You know, they're two completely different mediums, and to take the fanatical story of the death of Superman and put it onto film, and then have the floating rocks at the end, it was just something we didn't need. We didn't need Superman to die, because we know he's going to come back, because we've got the Justice League, and you can't have the Justice League without Superman. So, to me, the death of Superman was kind of pointless. I mean, sure, it made us sit there kind of going, oh my god, what have they done for a good 5 minutes, but other than that, I think it was a completely pointless exercise. And not only did they kill Superman, when they open the paper and it says Clark Kent is dead, you can't bring Clark Kent. You could bring Superman back, you can't bring Clark Kent back. He's dead. So now Superman has no alter ego. So what's he going to do about that? So that bit was completely and utterly pointless. The other theory that's been going around the internet for, oh no, maybe a year now, was when you had that picture of the Robin suit released and the picture of Jared Leto's Joker, and they both have the shoulder holes. And I started to think about it, and after seeing the movie, there's one line that Bruce Wayne delivers to Alfred that made me think, maybe it's true. Maybe the Joker was Robin. He turns around to Alfred and says, 20 years in Gotham, Alfred. We know what promises are worth. How many good guys left? How many stayed that way? I am currently 45% sure that I think the Joker may have been Robin at one point. Now, I mean, the Robin suit was kind of bulky, and Jared Leto we know is skinny as shit, but I think that's it's certainly going to be a new take, that's for sure, and it's certainly going to be an interesting one to deal with. So I guess we'll have to see. But right now I'm at 45%. I mean, which is very close, 50-50, which, you know, he either is or he isn't. But I guess we'll find out coming up. Now, my closing thoughts on the movie. It was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible. I didn't walk out hating what's going to happen with the DCU moving forward. It was fine. However, it didn't stand very well on its own. You would have to have watched Man of Steel in order to understand the Superman dynamic, to understand what the hell's going on in Metropolis as the story opens. The movie is very much a setup movie, and you can tell that it's there as a joining piece between Man of Steel and Justice League. I don't think Warner Brothers DC should have done it this way. Seeing this, I think I would have preferred them to take the Marvel route where they set up the individual characters first. I know that means we wouldn't have had Justice League for maybe 6 years, but we probably would have got a better story out of it, because I think this movie was good, and it set up Batman, sure, but it was just a little bit kind of lackluster. I mean, it certainly should not have been called Batman v Superman. I would have been much happier if this was called Dawn of Justice, because the Batman v Superman bit was maybe 10-15 minutes long. There wasn't much of a fight between them. It was a few minutes there. Superman says Martha, and it's over. That's it. So it was kind of a pointless title. But still, I'm still going to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out. I'm still going to watch it and take it for what it is. But it is certainly a joining story. It is definitely there to set up the Justice League. I still give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I did enjoy it. But it is definitely nowhere near as Man of Steel, and I have my reservations about the Justice League, which is of course coming in 2017. I'm not sure what's... I personally think that maybe Zack Snyder should have a co-director, because Zack Snyder is a visually awesome director. Everything he shoots is fantastic looking, but usually they kind of lack story and the dialogue's a little bit shitty. So it wouldn't hurt to have somebody in there to kind of focus on the story aspect of it while he's focusing on all the visuals. But Man of Steel, I absolutely enjoyed. I mean, Man of Steel I gave like a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, that was really high up. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, from what we can tell so far as of today, Zack Snyder is still on the movie, despite the rumours that he's coming off. And I guess we'll just find out. Well, it's not far away until we find out anyway. But either way, I hope it's going to be good. Well, thank you for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Just put your comments down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.
Let's wake him up. He's right there. That would seem like the logical thing to do.
Josh!
Although he is pretty drunk and wasted and passed out.
Guys!
So that means